You want to hear something that really hurts. Your team gets the ball into the net, and then, while you're celebrating wildly, you find out that the goal has been chopped off by VAR. You want to hear something that hurts even more. The replays are shown and you see that VAR got it wrong. Now, you want to hear what hurts the most? That decision ends up changing the course of the game and the eventual result. Devastating. This isn't something from a football dystopian literature, this is real life. This has happened one too many times over the last few years. Come with us as we check out 10 times VAR ruined the result of a game. Number 1. Arsenal vs Brentford. This is one of the most recent VAR blunders, and we're sure there are some Gunners still fuming right now. So let's set the scene. Arsenal aren't playing particularly well, but their new acquisition, Leandro Trossard, comes off the bench and puts them in front with his first goal for the club. They thought they would just ride from there like they have done many times this season and secure another win, but Tony had other ideas, and honestly, VAR too, because the replay showed that the goal should not have stood. Norgard was obviously offside in the build-up to the goal, and in spite of the fact that VAR deliberated for a long time, they still got it wrong. No thanks to that wrong call, the game ended in a stalemate, which means that, in the grand scheme of things, that singular decision cost Arsenal 2 huge points in the title race. But what somehow made matters worse was that, after the game, the professional game match officials apologised for the wrong VAR call and blamed it on human error. Technology was introduced to avoid these human errors, yet here we are. Apologies made, but no recourse. Arsenal dropped points. Devastating. Number 2. Crystal Palace vs Brighton. The match between Crystal Palace and Brighton this season was keenly contested. Brighton, determined to uphold their improbable bid for the Champions League spot, dominated Palace at home throughout the game. But despite their impressive performance, they were unable to take 3 points because of an outrageous VAR decision. The Seagulls took the lead in the first half through Estupinian, or so they thought. VAR checked and determined that that perfectly fine goal should not stand because of an alleged offside in the build-up. But everyone watching knew instantly that VAR had gotten another one wrong. And PGMOL confirmed that with their apology to Brighton after the game, admitting that VAR made a mistake in disallowing a first half goal for offside. Again, human error. The ruled out goal affected the mood of the Brighton players, and that derailed their progress. Although they later took the lead in the second half, they weren't able to close out the win and ended up drawing the game. Number 3. Wolves vs Liverpool. This one was an FA Cup clash. Wolves took the lead in the 26th minute, and Liverpool equalised right on the stroke of half-time. The Reds started the second half as they ended the first, scoring just 7 minutes from the restart. Wolves, now staring down the barrel of a bad cup loss, picked up the tempo and soon equalised. They didn't stop there though. They kept the pressure up and eventually, centre-back Totti Gomez got the late winner. At least, that's what we all thought. But after a long VAR check, the goal was disallowed for offside. But here's the thing, there was obviously no offside in that goal. But because VAR had no camera angle which captured both the passer of the ball and the scorer in the same frame, they decided to stick with the on-field decision, which was the wrong one. That meant that Wolves had to settle for a replay, which they ended up losing. Can't begin to imagine the hurt. Number 4. Everton vs Man City. This happened in the 2021-22 season, and was a topic till the end because of the implications it had in the title race. In the Premier League game between Everton and Manchester City, just as the season was getting into the final stretch of games, VAR chose not to award a penalty to Everton after Rodri evidently handled the ball in his box. City would go on to secure victory over Everton with a goal from Foden in the 81st minute. But it could have been a much different ending to both the game and the Premier League season had VAR made the correct call. If Everton converted that penalty, City may have dropped 2 points that day, and we'll remind you that they ended up winning the league by just 1 point, so you do the math. Number 5. Chelsea vs Spurs. London derbies are always pretty interesting, and the first Chelsea-Spurs meeting of the 2022-23 season was a blockbuster. It had everything, a late goal, a fight, and lots of controversy. Now, that controversy is why that game features in today's video. Chelsea thought they were going to steal a win from their City rivals that day, but Harry Kane scored from a corner in the 96th minute to snatch a point for the North Londoners. But the problem is, that goal should not have stood, because just as the corner was taken, Christian Romero pulled Cucurella down by the hair. It was so blatant that you could have seen it from a space station. but VAR reviewed the incident and still let the goal stand. Not only should that goal not have stood, Romero should also have been sent off. But it stood, and Chelsea dropped crucial points. Who knows how different it had been for Thomas Tuchel had VAR made the right call. Number 6. Chelsea vs West Ham. In the recent Chelsea vs West Ham game, we saw the ref and VAR allow 2 goalkeepers play for West Ham. Tomáš Souček was the second goalie. He literally dove and saved a goal in the box in the dying minutes, and the refs did absolutely nothing about it. So yeah, he had to be a certified goalkeeper. Chelsea didn't get the penalty they deserved, and because of that, had to settle for yet another draw, despite having played well all game. To show you how bad this was, after the game, Antonio confessed that he'd be fuming if the roles were reversed, and the penalty wasn't awarded to him. Souček joked that his dad was a goalkeeper, and West Ham's official Twitter account posted a clip of him in response to Chelsea's official account sarcastically saying that Souček made a great save from Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, my father was goalkeeper, so I did say no.
And you know what else was pretty wild? On a weekend that apologies were flying around for horrible VAR calls, Chelsea didn't get one for that. Number 7. Portugal vs Ghana. Going into Qatar 2022, Ronaldo had a record ready and waiting for him to snatch up. He needed just 1 goal to become the first man to score in 5 World Cup tournaments. Surely he was going to get it, right? Well, he actually would not have if VAR had done their job in his opening game against Ghana. In the 62nd minute of that game, Portugal was awarded a penalty following a collision between Ronaldo and Ghanaian defender Mohamed Salisu in the box. The Ghanaians immediately contested the decision, which initially seemed to be somewhat debatable, but when viewed in slow motion, it appeared that Ronaldo just went for a dive. And guess what? VAR didn't overturn the penalty and didn't even ask the ref to come take a look at the pitchside monitor. Now, would you look at that? Ronaldo went on to convert the penalty, and that ended up being the only goal he scored all tournament. Also, considering that Portugal ended up winning by just a 1-goal margin, the Ghanaians would probably have felt they could get out of the group stage, and VAR made the correct call. Number 8. Manchester Derby. The Manchester Derby is one of the biggest matches in the world, and it's a pity when refereeing decisions take away from the spectacle. This is exactly what happened in the last derby. Manchester City had taken the lead after some sustained pressure in the second half, but just as they looked to close out the win at Old Trafford, United drew level with a very questionable goal from Bruno Fernandes. Rashford, who was in an offside position, very clearly affected the play, before then leaving Bruno to strike the ball. Immediately, the linesman put up his flag, but after a brief consultation with VAR, the ref let the goal stand. The whole world was shocked. That goal gave United crazy momentum, and they went on to get the winning goal. For weeks, that very goal was debated all over the world, but if we're all being very sincere, it's hard not to see that as VAR dropping the ball yet again. Number 9. West Ham vs Fulham. Another London derby, another VAR howler. The 22-23 season had just begun, and a lot of teams were lacking sharpness, perhaps the referees too. West Ham's summer signing, Gianluca Scamacca, scored the second goal for the Hammers in the second half against Fulham, chipping the ball over Leno after a well-placed pass from Paqueta found him in the box. But the goal instantly didn't look legal, and replays proved just that. The striker had handled the ball, not once, but twice before burying it in the back of the net. Everybody, even the West Ham fans, fully expected the goal to be chopped off, but it wasn't, even after a VAR review. Considering Scamacca's immediate reaction after the goal, he too probably wasn't expecting that one to stand. Anyway, West Ham went on to win 3-1. Number 10. United vs Arsenal. Arsenal lost their first game of the season to Man United, no thanks to VAR. In the first half, Martinelli thought he had opened the scoring for Arsenal, but VAR chopped off the goal because of a very soft foul that happened in the build-up to the goal over at Arsenal's half. The ref was called to the monitor, and he decided to cancel the goal because of that incredibly soft foul. A shame. As a fan, which of these VAR blunders hurt you the most? Let us know in the comments.